everybody, welcome to another episode. I'm your host, RPGgoddess Gamer. Today we're doing a video about an upcoming RPG called Final Fantasy Resonance. For those of you who don't know, this is going to be a game that is based on a mobile gacha game called Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. It ran for about 10 years and is soon to be discontinued. And the team working on it decided to preserve the game by turning it into a full-blown console experience like what we see in Path Traveler Zero. And I think this is very exciting for many reasons, which we're going to get again to. So to begin with, I'm going to go over the official Final Fantasy Resonance Square Enix page. So let's get into that. And if you enjoy this, don't forget to like and subscribe and join my party and leveling up with me, guys. Okay, so we have the story. The Kingdom of Knights, Grand Seld, its people live peaceful lives, blessed by the power of crystals. Rain, commander of the airship Squadron, receives a royal decree. Investigate the Earth Shrine where the magical barrier protecting it has waned, and determine the cause together with Laswell, his childhood friend and deputy commander. Upon reaching the innermost chamber of the shrine, the two encounter a mysterious man clad in black armor. Overwhelmed by his immense power, Rain and Laswell are defeated, and the Earth crystal is shattered before their eyes. Though Rain and Laswell narrowly survive, the airship is wrecked, and their comrades have fallen. When Rain and Laswell return, they find Grand Seld under attack by the armored man, Veritas of the Dark. They manage to rescue the king, but once again suffer a crushing defeat. To protect the remaining crystals scattered across the world, Rain and Laswell set out on a journey in pursuit of Veritas of the Dark, joined by Fina, the mysterious girl they met in Grand Seld. At this moment, none of them could have imagined the turbulent fate that awaited them, and so their quest began. One thing I like about this is that it has a very classic, very traditional turn-based setup, and it also features heavily the story of the crystals. Personally, I'm a little bit over the whole crystal storylines because I've seen it done in so many Final Fantasies, but nothing screams classic Final Fantasy like crystals because the early games were absolutely full of them. Next, we have features. Return to the pixel world art of Final Fantasy evolved from its classic roots. Travel with companions bound by fate and call on visions to aid you in battle to uncover the truth behind a force that threatens to bring everything to ruin. Cinematic pixel art. What if Final Fantasy had continued to push the limits of pixel art? The first Final Fantasy to join the HD2D lineup, Final Fantasy Resonance delivers a striking visual experience that feels both nostalgic and new, enhanced by dynamic camera angles and pixelized 3D models that make every moment more dramatic and immersive. Interesting to know that they say the first Final Fantasy because this game covers the first act of Final Fantasy Resonance, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, and there were 4 chapters, or whatever you want to call them, 4 acts, so could we potentially be getting 4 games out of this? But the way they say the first gives me hope that this will be the first of many more to come like this. Return to the familiar. A classic RPG adventure unfolds in a world filled with beloved Final Fantasy elements, airships, crystals, espers, and moogles woven into the fabric of the story, and so much more. We have some screenshots. Strategic turn-based battles. Exploit enemy weaknesses to stagger them, breaking their defenses. Seize extra turns and gain the upper hand with powerful resonance attacks and cinematic battles shaped by smart choices. Final Fantasy Legends. Bolster your team with visions, echoes of beloved Final Fantasy characters who fight alongside you with unique skills and abilities for deep party customization. Hours of side content to discover. The world is full of secrets, including the wandering swordmaster Gilgamesh, a coliseum with deadly monsters and rewards to match, chamber of arms, formidable foes, sealed within legendary weapons, and a showdown with ultimate weapon. So we can expect some nice side quests and optional content, just like in any good game. Next we have characters. Rain. Okamato. The main protagonist, a knight of the Kingdom of Grandsheld, who is exceptionally skilled and entrusted with commanding an airship squadron at a young age. Earnest and principled, he refuses to choose one side over another, even in dire situations, remaining determined to protect everyone. Rain holds complicated feelings towards his father, Reagan, who left his family behind and disappeared without a trace. If we click here, we can see the other characters. Next we have Laswell. He's voiced by Alejandro Sabe, Yasuke Kobayashi, sorry if I'm butchering the names, a knight of the Kingdom of Grandsheld who possesses skills equal to Rain's and serves as his deputy commander in the airship squadron. Serious and disciplined, he is a model soldier trusted by both his subordinates and superiors. Orphaned at a young age, Laswell was taken in and raised by Rain's family. Having grown up with Rain, he often finds himself dragged along by Rain's impulsive nature. Excuse me, guys. Next we have Fina, voiced by Lizzie Freeman, Akane Fujita, a mysterious girl who appears from the Earth Crystal. She has lost all her memories except for her name. Cheerful and pure-hearted, Fina excels in white magic and archery, and she can even communicate with Espers. However, she cannot remember where she learned these skills or why she is able to speak with Espers at all. So she sounds like our white mage. Bit of a shame that we have the boring old amnesiac trope, but what are you going to do? Veritas of the Dark, voiced by Ian Sinclair, Akio Otuska. One of the sworn six of Palladium, he suddenly appears before Rain and the others, destroying the Earth Crystal and schemes to annihilate all crystals. We have Question Mark, voiced by Corey Pettit, Inori Manasi, a mysterious woman bound by a deep enmity to Veritas of the Dark. She travels alongside Bahamut and primarily wields offensive magic, so she often teases Rain and presents a playful front. A strong and unwavering resolve lies hidden beneath her light-hearted demeanour. So she sounds like the black mage of the group, and I guess to keep us in suspense, they're not revealing her name. That's all we have. We do have some screenshots in the trailer. I'll be uploading a short of the trailer at some point. But we have some more information to go over. So let's continue on with that now, shall we, guys? Okay, everybody, so we have some more info to go over, quite a bit actually, about Final Fantasy Resonance, so let's get into that. So as I stated before, this is based on the mobile game Brave Exvius, but it's been turned into a full console game. And I do mean a full console experience, not a port. This game is using... So let's continue on. We have a lot more info to cover about Final Fantasy Resonance. So again, this is based on the mobile game Brave Exvius, which I believe lasted for about 10 years. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. And this is going to be a full console game, similar in the vein of Octopath Traveler 0. they're using the foundation, the story of the game, to build upon this to make the foundation for a new game. But it is not a port, it is literally a game made completely from the ground up. This is going to be a completely different experience from the mobile and a full console experience that you would know and love and expect, because personally I'm not a big fan of mobile games, never have been. I did try them out when they first came out and I first got my first touchscreen phone, but I got tired of them pretty quickly due to the small screen and fiddly touchscreen controls and the fact that they're all got gatcha elements. Because yeah, I never would have played this game otherwise, but this gives the chance to play. Now, this game was originally pitched about 6 years ago by a producer of Brave Exvius who worked on the game. Basically, he knew that the game would eventually run its course in terms of its shelf life, and when that would happen, it would be unavailable. And he was so proud of that game that he didn't want it to go to waste. So they finally got the go-ahead to make this, which is a great way of preserving these games. Personally, I think this is an incredibly smart idea of turning old and possibly soon to be obsolete mobile gacha games into console games. It's a really, really cool idea. Very, very smart, especially when you consider the fact that pretty much every mobile game only is going to have a certain shelf life. It's never going to be around forever because at some point the server will close and the game will be removed. And so many games will be lost to the sands of time. But if more developers take a page out of these guys' book and do this, this will be a great way to preserve those games so that they're not lost and bring them to new audiences. So I think it's a really, really good idea. Really smart, really trending, and yeah, really, really intelligent. Now, I have some developer quotes that I want to read that I think will give you a good idea about this game. So just bear with me for a moment while I pull those up. I'll put them on screen if you want to read them yourself. Feel free to pause, otherwise I'll read out what's been said. So we have another reason was that I personally felt that it was high time to create a Final Fantasy title with pixel graphics and classic turn-based combat. Recent Final Fantasy games are made in 3D and the combat systems often feature action elements. One could even say that recent Final Fantasy titles require players to have a certain level of reflexes. They have been developed with recent video game trends in mind. Of course, they are all amazing games. However, I personally wanted to be able to play a new Final Fantasy game which starts by having to sit down and think deeply about how you're going to build your party. I knew that there also must be other people that are craving a classic Final Fantasy experience, which is why I decided to develop Final Fantasy Resonance. So that's really excellent news. If the developers are craving more turn-based Final Fantasy, then God only knows the rest of the fan base are. I mean, I know not everyone is as old school as me and sticks to turn-based games only, but I know that there are many people who have been disappointed with the series direction. Myself personally, I never played the Final Fantasy games beyond Part 10. I did try Final Fantasy 12 and Final Fantasy 12 Lightning Returns, but I literally only played it for a couple of hours and I just couldn't vibe with it, and then I put it down. So yeah, and the main reason was just it didn't click with me. I could tell that they were changing into a direction I didn't like, and so I stopped playing them. So the last Final Fantasy game I played was Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2. So it's great to know that the developers are catering to us turn-based lovers. Okay, next we have this quote, which says, on the other hand, while using Final Fantasy Brave Exvius as a base, we completely rewrote the scenario to make it work as a console RPG. We revised all the dialogues, and in some cases, we've even made the bold decision to attempt to rearrange the plot order. Furthermore, all the side quests and side content feature completely new scenarios. The reason why we decided to revise it like this is was because we wanted to provide players with the experience they would expect of a console RPG. So you can see from that they're definitely trying to make this as close to a console experience as you would get. And I think they're doing a pretty good job from what I can see. Next, we have another quote which says, to let players fully enjoy the best parts of random encounters, we removed all of the elements that could cause frustration. For example, we've made sure that encounter rates for enemies are lower in dungeons that feature a lot of puzzles. This is because we concluded that having fewer mob battles while solving puzzles allows for a less frustrating game experience. While it is a random encounter system, the minimap will change colours to alert players to approaching enemies. When the minimap turns yellow, that means mobs are getting closer, and when it becomes red, players will know that a battle is right around the corner. So that's really cool. I know some people aren't a big fan of random encounters, but I grew up on random encounters in my games, so I have no problem with that. And it's pretty cool that they're smart enough to know that we're not going to want to be fighting a million battles when we're trying to do puzzles, and also knowing when enemies are getting closer and having that mini-map changing colour is very handy. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's all for the quotes. So next I want to talk about, if this game sells well, we can hopefully expect to see more games like this. So if you're a fan of turn-based RPGs and you're missing the direction that Square Enix has gone in and wanting to go back to those turn-based days, put your money where your mouth is and buy this, because if we buy it and we show our support and show Square Enix that these games are still popular and they're still going to sell well and they're still going to make money on them, then they're going to be much more inclined to continue making them in the future. So this could be a very pivotal point in the Final Fantasy series history, because this is the first turn-based Final Fantasy game we've seen in a very long time. It's the first original entry we've seen since, I think, Final Fantasy X. Now, this game might also turn out to be a series. And the reason I say that is because the original Brave Exvius game consisted of 4 scenarios. And this game is going to be featuring the story of Scenario 1. So it only stands to reason that unless this game absolutely flops, which I really hope it doesn't, that they'll want to continue on and make the rest and continue the story. So we might be looking at another 3 games potentially. I suppose it depends on whether they want to just go scenario by scenario or jam a couple of scenarios into one game. We don't know yet, but it's worth noting and worth looking forward to. The game also features a world map, and I love a good world map because so many RPGs these days do not have a world map, which is a real shame. But this has a world map and it looks absolutely beautiful. There's also the airship, the classic airship. You can't have a Final Fantasy without an airship, if you ask me, or a ship. Now, including the visions, there's going to be over 26 characters. From what I can tell, we're going to have a 4-person party in battle. As you can see on the screen in the video playing, we have these sort of ghostly-like characters standing behind our characters. Those are what's going to be called visions. And visions, you can basically think of them like a persona. So they will learn abilities and they will level up and they will get stronger and you'll learn skills from them. They will also have a summon, so it'll be like a summon or an esper. And I think they also can help unlock a limit break type move. I forget exactly how it works. I did read or hear about it somewhere, but I know there is a limit break like system. There's also the break system. So if you've played Octopath, you'll be familiar with that, which basically exploit the enemy weaknesses and you'll break them. So hit them with the right things, the right moves and elements that they're weak to, and you can break them to do more damage and also gain extra turns. Personally, I was not a big fan of Octopath. I found it a bit too hard. So I'm hoping that this isn't going to be too Octopath inspired, so that I don't get stuck like I did in Octopath Travel. Maybe I'm just a bad gamer, I don't know. But either. And the game does feature random battles, which is something we haven't seen since Final Fantasy X. Now, the game is said to have a normal difficulty level. We don't know yet whether it'll have the choice to set the difficulty level. First up, the games that give you the choice to select your difficulty level, be it easy, medium, or hard, or whatever it is that you want to go for and play with. But this will be described as normal, so hopefully it won't be too difficult and I'll be able to get into it. And the difficulty level has been described as about the same as Octopath Traveler. Now, the game length is going to be about 30 to 40 hours. That's only if you just complete the main story without doing any optional content. If you choose to chase after all that extra side content, then you're looking at about 60 to 80 hours gameplay. So it's a pretty good size game, and for the price, I think we're doing quite well. The release date for this game is October 22nd, 26, so not long now, only a few more months. The story also heavily features the crystals, as we saw earlier in the video. Personally, I like a little bit more with the crystal trope, but you're talking classic Final Fantasy when there's crystals, so I can't complain too hard. Also, exploiting enemy weaknesses will be very important, staggering them, as I mentioned before. So this will be the sort of game where you just want to hack and slash, but actually use your brain and go after those elemental weaknesses. Now, the visions, one interesting thing about them is they're kind of left over from the gatcha system, because remember this was a gatcha game originally. Basically, the visions will be characters that you've seen from previous games, so heroes from previous games, which I think is a pretty cool concept. And the summons for them look really impressive. I've heard some people say that they don't like the look of the summons because you're sort of getting an FMV view when those summons are playing and it doesn't fit with the aesthetic. But personally, I think it looks really cool. I'm always a big fan of a summon. I love them so much, I never skip them. So it's pretty cool. There's also going to be a Colosseum feature, and there'll be the Wandering Swordsman Gilgamesh, and a showdown with Ultimate Weapon. So that's some pretty cool optional stuff to look forward to. But yeah, that's about all we have in terms of current info on this game. I'm greatly looking forward to it. I'll be buying it. I plan to pre-order it very soon from my local EV Games because I'm in Australia, South Australia to be specific. Yeah, I think this is really good news. It brings hope, especially as somebody who has long since given up on Final Fantasy games. I just ignore them when they come out because, like I said before, I just don't like the direction they've gone in. It's just not for me. It's not my personal taste as a gamer. But to know that there is a new Final Fantasy game in the works that takes it back to its roots and to its basics, yet still in a modern package and with all the modern bells and whistles, I think is really exciting. So if you guys are like me and want to see more turn-based Final Fantasy games, more turn-based Square Enix games, I highly advise you to put your money where your mouth is and show your support by using your wallet and buying this game. Showing your support to its creators and Square Enix as a company is our best possible chance of getting more games like this in the future. But yeah, very exciting news. We have a lot of good games to look forward to this year. I almost can't keep up with them. My wallet's having trouble keeping up with all the good games, not to mention my backlog. But anyway, that's been all for this video, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed the video, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment. All that good stuff really does help. It's free and only takes a minute and lets me know that you guys care and appreciate what I do here on the channel. Also, I'm on social media now. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, so feel free to follow me on over there so you don't miss out on a thing. Also, the vast majority of people who watch my videos are not actually subscribed. In fact, a whopping 99%, which is basically all of you who watch, are not actually subscribed, which is pretty disheartening. So if you like what I do, why don't you hit that subscribe button?
Hi
That way you won't
everyone!
miss out on
Be
anything.
sure to follow me and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, I've got some cool ideas planned for the channel. Of course, there'll be more gaming content, that's to be expected. I'm trying to branch off into some other fun stuff. I recently went on a holiday to Brisbane and I saw the band Fire. So I've been working my way through uploading YouTube shorts of the Fire videos. Unfortunately, due to copyright, my way through uploading shorts from the live concert of their songs, but due to copyright, it makes it a bit difficult. But I also went to the circus. It was the Harrington Circus that came to my town, and I thought that was really cool, and I got a lot of cool videos from that, so you can expect to see some of those videos on the channel as well. So plenty of good stuff to look forward to, guys. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it informative. Thank you all so much for watching and for your continued love and support, guys. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.